Good evening and welcome to podcast number 7. It's Sunday, 9th of December, and we're going to have a look today at the concept of heart rate responses to exercise. So we're having a look at the graph here on the screen. We're particularly interested in the blue line for, if you like, a trained performer, and we're interested in how heart rate responds to what we would describe as submaximal exercise. So we might consider this something like a training run, for example, a submaximal exercise, about something which we can perform during a prolonged period of time. And what we need to be able to do here is we need to be able to identify 5 points across this graph, and of course potentially you need to be able to draw this photograph in your exam. So first of all, let's have a look at point 1. We call point 1 the not particularly well drawn on this graph. We might expect the graph to shoot up more like this, and that is to say that before exercise our heart rate increases. We call that an AR. You already know what it is, of course, an anticipatory rise. Write that in there, anticipatory rise. What is that, James? Well, an anticipatory rise is when we, via our adrenal gland, release adrenaline, which acts directly on the sinoatrial node. A few revision sessions ago we looked at that, of course. The sinoatrial node reacts by increasing heart rate, and it's kind of a notion of excitement and preparation for exercise. So we anticipate the exercise back, we know it's coming, we release adrenaline, and that stimulates the sinoatrial node to increase the rhythm of cardiac contraction. So we have the anticipatory rise. In point 2, here we have what we would refer to as a steep rise in heart rate. Our heart rate rapidly increases, and it rapidly increases until we reach point 3. And of course, if you draw this in your exam, it seem a steep rise in heart rate. Point 3 we call steady state exercise. You might refer to it as a plateau, but I'm going to refer to it as a steady state exercise. What's steady state exercise, James? Well, of course, we would refer to steady state exercise as when O2 supply equals O2 demand. O2 supply equals O2 demand. We are able to take in, transport and utilise enough oxygen so that we can power all energy requirements aerobically. Point 4, what do we refer to point 4 as? Well, of course, it is a post-exercise steep fall in heart rate. We consider this didn't mean to do that. We consider this a steep decline down there, steep decline or a steep fall in heart rate. So we need to see that on the graph that you illustrate, that it falls very rapidly, and then here at point 5 we have what is called a levelling off. So the heart rate levels off back at, and you can see it here, back at resting level. Okay, so back at resting level we see that heart rate finishing. Oops, chopped off a few bits and bobs there. Put those back in anticipatory rise. So we have that levelling off. Now, a question like this, if you're asked to draw a heart rate response to submaximal exercise, it could be along the lines of 5 marks worth for you. So this is really important knowledge, and you should be able to illustrate it. One final thing before we finish. Because it's submaximal, if we look at this peak point heart rate, it should be no more than 150 BPM, illustrating that we are working at a non-maximal threshold. If you were to take this plateau level up, and let's say for argument's sake it was up at 180, then that would mean that we're working in the region of maximal intensity. So that would be a mistake and would lose you a mark. So around about 150 is the maximum level you want to go with that plateau or that steady state period within the exercise. So a reminder, 5 marks. Anticipatory rise, steep rise in heart rate, steady state, 150 or below. We then go at the end of exercise, a steep fall, and then it levels off towards the end. Thank you for your time this Sunday, and I shall be back tomorrow on Monday the 10th with revision session number 8. So until then, goodbye and have a good week.